In this video, we're going to talk about what you should do if your I-130 is still pending after your interview.
Visit our Swat&Vee channel with your questions to see how best we can help you out your process. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel.
Let's get started. You've been interviewed by the government, perhaps with your spouse, and it's like, crickets, nothing has happened and you've been waiting for a very long time. What in the world could be going on behind the scenes that's causing your I-130 family petition to be held up so long, particularly if this is a marriage case? The issues that I'm going to raise in this one are the typical scenarios that most people go through, and this doesn't apply to everyone. Most cases usually go extremely well with no drama other than a little delay here and there. The first thing that you need to think about is that, well, one of the reasons why you haven't heard anything from them yet is because perhaps they're reviewing new evidence that you shared with them during the interview. Maybe you gave them a divorce decree that they didn't have before, and so now they need to do some due diligence to look into it to make sure that it's authentic and other things like that. If you've given them new evidence at the interview that they couldn't easily make a decision on to determine the authenticity of the document or whatever the case may be, then they're going to slow down your case so that they could review it and verify some things. The other thing that typically happens is that, well, during the interview, particularly in a spousal case, your spouse may have said something completely different from you right during the interview. What happened? How are the responses consistent or inconsistent? And did they give you an opportunity to clarify some things? Did you reconcile the differences? What happened during that interview? Because if your answers are inconsistent, it could very well be a fraud alert on their end. And so they're going to slow down the case and review the record again, and then they're going to respond to you. The other thing that happens commonly at interviews for cases that become really complex is perhaps you were blindsided by something that came up during the interview and you just didn't know how to respond to it. You froze, or you may have said something completely wrong. For example, husband and wife goes in for a green card interview, and at that interview, the officer begins to query the beneficiary's wife, asking her whether she knows that her spouse has a personal record and the extent of the record, and in fact it's a very serious record. Everyone is blindsided by this issue because they didn't think it was going to come up, and of course things just spiraled out of control after that point. So, did something like that happen at your interview that caused you guys to be blindsided and maybe you didn't respond properly? The other thing that could certainly be slowing down the case at this point after the interview is if the fraud unit is now involved in the case. If your case was moved over to the fraud unit of the agency, well, they're going to take their sweet time to investigate things. And for some people, depending on the state that you're in or the city or county, you may or may not get a visit at your home by officers from the fraud unit investigating things. And then the other thing that could be slowing it down is perhaps the person who interviewed you is working on a request for evidence or a notice of intent to deny your case, which is very common. And if you get an RFP or a NOID, you have a much shorter time to respond to it now that the flexibility policy is no longer in place, so keep that in mind. So that could be happening in the background. Maybe they're just writing up your NOID. The other thing is this: if you had received an RFP or a NOID and you've responded to it, certainly they're taking their time to review your response and then they'll make a decision after. The issues that I've discussed in this video does not apply to everyone. For some, maybe their case is just slowed down because of a backlog at a field office in the city where you're located. It could very well be that as well. But if any of these triggers happened at your interview, you were blindsided, or you presented a new piece of evidence that will take time to review and verify, or if there were inconsistent responses, then speak with a lawyer, speak with an immigration lawyer about your next steps and how you can gear up to fight whatever is going to happen next in your case. I hope you guys found this video extremely helpful. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, definitely make sure to share this video with them. We're all about empowering you with knowledge, so the more people that can benefit from this video, the more people we want watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs icon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit on the notification bell for more immigration updates. Adios.